So in this video, we are going to focus on the topic of what makes a good rally starter. And this video is more made for beginners. It's not so much for people that have fully leveled heroes and are experts in this game. So this is more towards beginners. And the question we're going to answer is, when is it okay to start a rally? And when should you maybe invest more time into developing your heroes and your skills in order to start a rally? So that also depends a bit on your tribe, because if you work in a very advanced tribe, it's a different thing than if you are more in a standard tribe. So let's have a look together. So the most important stuff, I would say, is your heroes. Why is this important? Because in rallies, it only matters what is the starter heroes. It doesn't really matter what the other guys out of your tribe sent into the rally. So therefore, you need good heroes in order to launch a rally. Now let's have a look on mine. So what you can say, what is a good hero or okayish hero, let's put it this way, is the impact level. The impact level you can see here for Roski. In my case, it's 390. And in my case, I go with Voda for now. I work on it, but for now, and that's only 320. Now, if you go on another one, for Seacron, for instance, it only has 260. So that is much lower and therefore obviously too weak to start a rally. What makes this impact level? That's rather simple to explain. So let's go for Voda for now. So I would say there are three things that matter the most. One is the leveling of your heroes. In this case, Voda has 5 stars. Now I have to say, and you can see this from the impact level, the purple heroes are not as good as the golden ones. So you can see Voda has 5 stars. However, his impact level, even so equipment and skills and so on, are very comparable to Roski. In my case, Roski has an impact level of 390. Even so, this guy is only leveled with 2 stars, right? So the impact level matters. It gets defined by the stars. That's one thing. The other thing is it gets defined by the equipment. Here you can click on one. And what's super important is that the equipment is really tailored towards your hero. Now, what does this mean? If you click on the hero, you can see top right, it's written pikeman, right? So this guy you should only send with pikeman. Now let's go to another one. So let's go to Gregory. So here top right, you can see infantry. Now this guy you should only send with this type of soldiers, not with pikemen, for instance. Okay, so that's super important, and that also matters for the equipment, because if you go on equipment, and you can see in my case, I have specialized the equipment towards pikemen soldiers because the hero is made for pikemen. Now you can see also with the other parts, right? So that's pikemen, and then some additional skills, again, pikemen, and again for pikemen, right? So, and I've done this for all the starter heroes. The other thing you should look at is the skills. My recommendation for the skills is the first 2 you should definitely have leveled above 8, and the other 2 above 6, I would say. So that would be my recommendation. Before that, you shouldn't start a rally. Good, and then the final part would be your academy skills. So your research is also super important. Let's have a look on this account where I can level, I would say, Niflungs up to 12, not higher, because otherwise the loss is too high. And you can see here basically, where my research is. So for pikemen, I'm working on attack 2. And what you can do as well is you can check one of your reports. So let's go to one of mine, right? And there you can see, if you go here on the research part. So for attack, I do have a buff of 130, 70 for defense, and around 30 for health. So that's not super good, I have to say, but this is where I am. So therefore, this is okay-ish, but maybe not the very best, right? So I would say if you have below 100, it's not the time to start. If you have, one, especially the attack one, above 100, it's maybe time to think about starting a rally and give it a go and try. So research is super important. Now then, the other part is the troops, right? So again, if you go on research, do I have T1, T2, T3, T4, or T5 soldiers? In general, I would say you should have T5 soldiers in order to start a rally. Below, if you only have T4, it's not really worthwhile. Now, how to set it up, right? Now, it's a bit unfortunate that I'm just joining a rally. So let me just get one troop back in order to start a rally. So let's get the closest back home. Okay, let me pull this one back. So now what we want to look at is we want to look on how to start a rally. So for this, you need one free troop. That's important. This is why I'm just sending this guy back in order to have one free troop. And then you basically search for the right target. So here you can see 15 for me, by far too high. I have too many losses. So I hunt for 12 or below. So 14... That depends also on your server, right? So on young servers, you have much lower Niflung targets than on this one because I'm on a bit older one. Okay, so I click on it, right? And then I say I start a rally. Now, here you can choose what is the waiting time. Never go above 5 minutes. It's always 5 minutes, always the lowest. Otherwise, your colleagues get crazy. And then in my case, I say, okay, they can leave my castle when I have reached 75% of the troops. So I click on rally. Now I have to select my heroes. The pre-selection is fine. So I go in my case with Roski and Voder. If you only have 2 purple ones, very hard to run a rally. So I think you really need one golden one that is leveled a bit, and then you can combine with one purple one. Now this button is super important. When you start the rally, you have to click here on the setting top, and then you have to choose what is the type of army that can join your rally. So in my case, it's only pikemen. So no one else should send anything else than pikemen because, as I explained before, my heroes are specialized on pikemen. So you have to tick the box. This is infantry, this is pikemen, and this is archers, right? So I go for pikemen because my heroes are pikemen, and then I can choose the level. So in this case, if we stay with this example, the other tribe colleagues can send troops that have T3 soldiers. With this, you will have rather high losses. And this is why it's so important to level your troops also for the rallies. So in my case, I go for, it should be T4 soldiers or above that. I often even go for T5, also to encourage people to do research and go to T5 soldiers. Just because the losses are so much lower than if I allow also T4. So let's stay with this example. Then I run the rally. I just click on March and then the rally will start. So super important to summarize is basically this button here where you set the conditions. Okay, then last stage would be, okay, now you've done a rally. You can see when you do the rally, you can watch it, right? You can watch it basically, and when you watch it, you can see if you will lose or not. What is the purpose of a rally? The purpose is to gain this one, right? So you get speed ups, you get resources, and the rallies you mainly run for resources. But there's also a side effect, which is if you go on the report, every hero that you have sent into a rally, also of someone else, gets experience plus. So you can see here the 9,700 that these heroes get in addition. So that's a nice thing, but you mainly do for the resources, right? So, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to have a quick look at the report. And there when you run your first rallies, you can see the report. So you can see basically, and this is what I showed before, you can see here your academy level, you can see the impact of your equipment, you can see then here the animals, which is also a super important thing. And if you allow me that, the animals must be also tailored towards the type of soldiers that your heroes can send. So in this case, you can see I have focused everything on pikemen because they go with the pikemen heroes. You shouldn't have animals that are tailored towards infantry or archers if you send it together with pikemen heroes. And then you can see here the impact of the different skills. That's also important because this is the way how you can improve your skills, because certain skills need to fit together, and there's another video explaining that. But if you want to have a summary, in my case, I, for instance, have heavily wounded 2,500 soldiers. Now, what you should do is, I have 2,500 soldiers. Now you can do a little bit of a math. You can click here, top right. You can see how many people have joined. So this is about 10 people, okay? So one person has around 250 heavily wounded soldiers they need to heal. Now what you can do is you can go into your hospital. You can go into your hospital. Okay, I'm now doing some healing, but you can click on it and see how much the healing was. So therefore you can in the end say, is it worthwhile doing a rally? The general recommendation would be if you have more than 4,000 heavily wounded, it tends to turn out to not be very efficient anymore, and you shouldn't do rallies or go down in the level of the Niflung leaders. Start with 8, 9. Inform your colleagues from your tribe that you're going to do a test so everyone is aware. And if your heroes turned red before the Niflung, then you can also stop the rally and pull back your army in case you don't want to have too many wounded soldiers. Yeah, I think that's more or less it. So let me summarize. What is super important is the quality of your heroes with all that belongs to it, with the stars, with the skills, with the equipment, with the animals. What's also super important is your research level on war. Then you have to set up the rally in a way that only the type of soldiers can join that your heroes are made for and specialized for. And then finally, once you run a rally, you have to learn from it and read the report in detail in order to see where are your weakness points and where are your strengths. And then if you have above 4,000 heavily wounded, maybe you need to improve your skills and your setting. Okay, have fun with it.